Yes, I'm live, unplanned live stream, you guys. I'm always doing that because I'm a busy woman. I got a lot of stuff in life to do. And so I like to check out of the internet and just go about my business of life. But I hope that you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday. It's been an interesting, I would say, last couple of weeks. If you're an American too and you're immersed in the American culture and politics of things in America, obviously, you got Trump's DOGE department who's going to task, right? They are going to task to reveal what I think is a lot of government corruption, a lot of people hooking up their buddies by way of just ridiculous contracts. I'm listening to reports on how people were being paid for 3-month contracts and the contracts just never stop paying them. It's like, are you serious? I mean, what kind of oversight, was happening in this government? And, I can't even blame this on just the Democrats, right? Because a lot of this stuff, it was just there. And I'm pretty sure if Elon is honest, right? There's even some unnecessary spending on both sides, right? And I do hope that this particular group fulfills their, obligation and due diligence to the American people to just answer the one freaking question that we all want to know. Where the hell are our tax dollars going? I think that's just like if we can just get an accountability of that. I think a lot of Americans would have some level of at least peace of mind that this government isn't as screwed up as they really feel like it is. So what's going on, Rose Garden? I see you. I see you. Elon was just one cam being on. Elon is a weird dude. He is definitely a peculiar guy, right? I think he's a son of perdition myself. But these could be decent people who have good intentions. But I do believe that this Doge department is so necessary because, like I said, people just want to care. We are being short squeezed every which way we can look out of our earnings through this IRS tax code, just convoluted. They're like, oh, it's a complicated. It's like, no, when you taking my money, shouldn't nothing be complicated about where it's going, right? You should just be telling me where the hell it's going and why we need to increase my taxes and what is the need for it. I mean, I think a lot of Americans really, we have just been conditioned because these are, quote, government federal agencies to just go along, get along. So when they start freaking with the tax brackets and all kinds of stupid shit, right? We're used to it. We just go along to get along and we don't question why. Why is this absolutely necessary? Where is this money going, right? And I do think that we should have had a Doge a long time ago because the spending in this nation is just bipolar. It's bipolar. The United States government spends like manic depressants, or do they call them manic depressants anymore? I don't know, but seriously, they spend like a manic depressant when they are in mania. And you know what they say about the folks in mania, right? They just start spending, they just start doing irrational shit, right? Because it makes them feel good, right? And this is what I feel like our government has been doing with our tax dollars. And so I think accountability is something that the American people need, especially because economically we're not doing well. Now, from what I have seen, they've been able to uncover billions so far of just useless, wasteful spending. So we shall see how Doge pans out. He seems on to something. I call them brain pills. You know, look, if Elon has the capacity to sort of cut government spending to a degree that it needs to be cut without hurting critical programs, right, then I'm all for it. I am all for cutting government spending. I'm not for cutting crucial government programs that, help, the individuals in our society who have bought into them and need to leverage them. So I am never a fan of things like that. It's like, if y'all want to shut off Social Security, that's fine. Just give me all that money that you were taking out of my paycheck to keep that program afloat, because I wasn't just donating to Social Security. Matter of fact, that wasn't even an investment that I voluntarily got into. So my whole thing is, if you want to cut Social Security, right, just go ahead and give me all that money that you've been taking from my earnings all these years, and I'll just reinvest it the way that I want to invest it, if that's kind of where y'all going with that program. So we hope that they don't cut Social Security, because I do think that, that would be a keen to stealing from the American people. And I think that there would need to be an amicable phase out of something like that, with some type of huge refund to the people that have already bought into it, to help them secure, other means of their retirement. So we should see what they're going to do, guys, right? But it seems like Trump is definitely doing the most. He's doing the most. I think he's doing a little too much in certain areas, especially when it comes to, the conversations about Gaza. I've done a video about this. I'm not really pleased with Trump's current rhetoric. I think it's reckless, right? And it ultimately makes Israel look ridiculous. It makes the United States look ridiculous. And it really just makes all this killing of the Gazans, what everybody suspected, that these people just needed to imperialize these people's lands. These people refused to leave, so they're just like, we're gonna make you uncomfortable, and now we're gonna kill you, right? And that's basically what's happened. I don't even know if this 1.8 million people that they're talking about forcefully, displacing to other lands in even United States. I mean, Trump literally just said, now here he is talking about ICE and mass deportations, right? But then in the same breath, this man is talking about possibly evaluating bringing Palestinians to the United States. You cannot make this shit up. And bringing Palestinians to the United States is not really a good idea, because now you're bringing possibly radicalized people in many degrees onto a land that has been supplying bombs and all kinds of other shit to the opposition party that has displaced them. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, United States should be the last options for the Palestinians, because I'm pretty sure a lot of these people, once they get settled into this Riviera of peace that Trump has settled them in, they're going to start thinking about what they lost, like most people do. So who knows? Who knows? Who knows? We will pray for you, Victor. We pray for everybody who's going through trials and tribulations in Satan's demonic world. It's really sad. It is really, really sad. But, it's interesting. I did a video also doing a review of the Super Bowl halftime show. Obviously, you have people who have different opinions about the halftime show. Now, me personally, I thought, I'm looking at Kendrick Lamar from just a pure artist standpoint. I thought he executed his performance very well. I thought his song choice was really good. And I really think that it was a cultural exhibition at a so-called American game. And I think when I look at the reactions to certain individuals, obviously, like I said, you had that MAGA crowd at the Super Bowl this year because Trump was there, and I think that, for me, when I look at some of the comments about Kendra's performance, it's like, wow, wow. America, as so-called diverse as we want to claim, we're a melting pot, we're this, we're that, we're all Americans, like, we are still culturally uncomfortable with each other. Like, if Kendrick Lamar was like some Lil Nas X country slash rapper, right, appealing to the dominant white society taste buds, right, he would have definitely been better received, than to me a Kendrick Lamar, who is more of a conscious rapper, and I do think that in the broad scheme of the NFL this year, just considering all of the stuff that's going on, Trump being there too, right? And it wasn't even just Trump being there. I just think that overall it seemed to be a mismatch, right? Kendrick, they got him based off of the momentum of his Not Like Us and his album, but at the same time, that momentum didn't necessarily translate to all of the Super Bowl audience, in my opinion. So, I mean, that's just me. I think that, you really do see the ignorance of certain people come out when they come bitching about the halftime because they brought a conscious black rapper in to entertain them. It wasn't entertaining for some people. The Super, let's see, Bowl program is not well funded. The Weeknd put his own money into his performance. Right. I think they probably would have liked The Weeknd better than Kendrick. When you start talking about conscious black people putting out conscious black symbolism, and really spitting conscious black lyrics for the most part, right? It doesn't translate well to an audience like that, in my opinion, even though he's, like I said, he's had a good year and he's had some dynamic things happen for him. His music just does not translate to everybody. I was even looking at some people's channel and they were like, Kendrick's performance had a lot of symbolism in it. Now, mind you, I don't like to jump. I don't, I kind of agree with JT, the girl from the City Girls, that she got some recent backlash for, I guess, wearing the upside down cross. Now, mind you, the cross means nothing to a person like me. You can wear it upside down, sideways, right ways. It doesn't really matter to me because it's an idol, and my God said we should not create idols. So I don't wear crosses. I don't have association with crosses. So it doesn't do anything for me to see the devil mock the people by turning his symbol upside down, right? But, some people do be looking for the devil. Some people do look for the devil in everything. And so when I looked at, Kendra's performance, I didn't necessarily go satanic with it, right? But you have some people who are on that conspiracy, Illuminati, everything. And honestly, Satan is in everything because obviously this is his world, right? But I didn't really get satanic from that, right? And again, there are a lot of people that I follow that follow hidden symbols, they follow numbers, all kinds of different, cult like symbolisms and stuff. I don't really immerse myself in those types of distractions too much because, again, I know that the devil is always going to be in some detail, right? I just don't try to look for his detail in everything. And that's just me. I don't want to operate like that. I'm sure Lady Gaga put out her own money down too for her halftime show. I loved his performance. Kendrick's won Pulitzer Prize. I like I said, I thought his performance was dynamic. It was true to him, right? And again, it wasn't for everybody. And Kendrick Lamar is not the artist that's for everybody. And that was up to the NFL to calculate that. They should be the ones casing their audience. They should be the one understanding, the demographics of the people who are coming out to their show. You know what I mean? Because I bet you that stadium was not comprised of mostly black people at all. It was comprised of mostly white people. And I don't think it's reasonable to expect, a conscious black rapper to adjust his catalog and his performance list for a dominant white society audience. It's like, okay, not every NFL halftime show has an artist that everybody likes, right? There's been some people performing at the halftime show that I really didn't care to see, and I didn't even watch the halftime show. So to me, it was just one of those things that I don't think the NFL is really, I don't think they're kind of thinking about their demographics of people who actually buy tickets and tune into the game, right? So that was their bad. But I wanted to talk about the bell bottom jeans. I love his performance. I thought he did good. I like what SZA did. I like the dancers. I like the coordination. And again, a lot of people were like, there's a lot of hidden symbolism there. Some people got, what was that song or that show or that, I don't know if it was a series, Squid Games. Some people were getting that symbolism from it. Some people were getting water goddesses or something like that, with SZA's performance. And, a lot of people, they're going to find symbolism in almost anything. And, I can't say that when I saw Kendrick's performance that I necessarily saw anything satanic. I saw something more cultural. And again, it was a cultural exhibition. And for the white supremacist type of people who have that mindset, it's like niggas have been in this nation forever. So I don't even understand why y'all upset to see our art form. But again, that's just telling you again how culturally uncomfortable so many so-called non-racist people really are. If you ain't racist, we can at least give you the title of being extremely culturally uncomfortable. Let's not use the racism word anymore, guys. Let's just call these people culturally uncomfortable, because that's what a lot of them give to me is you are culturally either underexposed or just culturally uncomfortable. All right, so that's, yes, I agree with the mindset. You want evil things, you attract and purchase that merch. Absolutely. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about really quickly, I did a video a couple of years ago about single mother types. And in this video, I was talking about the types of single mothers that could actually devastate a man. And when I think about that, fast forward, you have this manosphere, it has grown, and you have all these men talking about single mothers. And it's so funny, some of these single, lonely beta men, how they go in on single mothers and then they love to highlight the absolute worst type of single mother, right? And to narrate all single mothers as being the same way. Now, I've often said that there is a difference between a single mother who would probably be the sole financial responsibility of the child if the father is not around, and a single mother with kids. A single mother of kids has the father as the second income taking care of the kids, even if they're not together, right? They're co parenting in some way, they're taking care of the kids together. You either have a scenario where the father is paying child support or they have a 50-50 split and they're both just taking care of the kids together. Whatever the situation is, you cannot conflate those types of women as being the same type of women. And what really irritates me is there's a lot of these men who have a lot to say about single women, like, oh, single women, they're just looking for daddies for their kids. And it's like, sir, this woman has been single for 7 years, taking care of her. She got her own house, Carol, her kids, right? She been doing all that by herself before your ass even came in the picture. What do you think you really doing besides being penis and maybe possibly a partner to a household? You ain't taking care of shit. And I think a lot of guys, they need that sort of, I don't know, damsel in distress, when it comes to all single mothers, when really that's not the reality. There are a lot of single mothers who are doing very, very well. They can take care of their children. They can take care of their household. They are doing what they need to do. They are raising kids that are going to college and making something of themselves. A lot of these broken, sad dudes were probably either raised by one or 9 times out of 10 they were left, their fathers were left by one, and the father was forced basically to raise the kid because the mother left them, right? So this is the root cause of a lot of these angry men who are universally talking about single mothers as if they can't intelligently talk about situations, and there's a lot of single mother situations where these women have great jobs. I mean, they're making over 100K a year. They're able to provide for their kids because they knew that I had to go out and get a skill that can help me pay my bills and take care of my kids. So a lot of these women have gone out, they've had to go out and get professional skill sets that put them in a certain financial bracket to be able to take care of themselves. So when the dude, is going around talking about, I ain't trying to take care of her and her kids. It's like, Negro, you don't got a house. You're barely taking care of your damn self. You're talking about a woman that has her own house, has been taking care of her kids by herself for years before your ass even came along. And I think a lot of these dudes really need a reality check. You ain't Captain Save a Hoe. Some of you are not Captain Save a Hoe. You need to save yourselves. Some of you need to save yourselves, you know? And so I don't like it when, you have this just fervor from the ignorant about talking about single women in general. It's like some of you were raised by them. Some of you are on this rant about single women because you were raised by one and you actually hate the womb that you come from. And like, I'm not sure if your mama won shit and she kind of projected that on you and that's why you hate single women, right? Or you put her shit on all single women. But regardless, I think that it is intelligent to, for people to, at least reasonable people, right, to concede that not all single women are financial liabilities to men. In fact, I think there are a lot of men who are financial liabilities to single women, and that is why many of them opt to stay single and raise their kids and keep moving on without dealing with their asses too. Right? So I think as many guys as can get on the mic and talk about how they ain't trying to be with a single mom and this, that, or other, don't worry. These women really don't need to be with you. You know what I mean? And a lot of them aren't even tripping to be with you. A lot of these guys will talk about a woman being, sad and lonely and by herself. And then you look at a lot of these dudes, right? They're damn near 40, ain't got not a one seed of legacy to their name, right? Because they are so woman hating, they don't have not one seed of legacy to their name. They're gonna die lonely. They better have a good long-term care policy because ain't nobody gonna be taking care of their asses. How they hating so much? So you got all these young men, borderline 40, crying about single women, right? At least they got a seed. At least they got a seed. You ain't got shit. You got you and your anger and your woman hating. That's what you got. And at the end of the day, don't nobody care about that but you or all your fellow woman haters who are in the same plight as you. So, like I said, there are a lot of types of single mothers that generate these types of men, right? You got, the needy Nina who will have her son exposed to all kinds of different men, put them in positions where emasculate them, right? So that's going to cause a guy to hate women irrationally, right? You got the women who flee their baby daddies, right? And force the man to raise the child. And if it's a boy, right, he thinks about, he's raised with his father's bitterness of the woman who left him to do it all by himself. And so that woman hate translates to the boy and he ends up being a woman hater too. Woman hating is a cycle. It is a cycle by men who have been dominated by women. And this is what they raise their boys to think like. At the heart of every woman hater is either another man that was victimized by a woman leaving him, isolating him, and forcing him to raise a son by himself, or a man that has been outright rejected by women because he's weird, awkward, and lacks the 5 social values that I talk about all the time. I wanted to look for that, but not anymore. It's growing. It's a growing thing. Additional, they were also traumatized by women. What's going on, Ghetto Planet? I see you. Additionally, they were also traumatized by women romantically along their personal gripes with the single mothers. Oh, for sure. No doubt. I mean, you think about a lot of these guys, I think a lot of them in their minds, they want that whole meet a nice girl, have a family, whoop de whoop de woo. But some of them, they're weird and awkward. And so they can't get a lot of these women to really want them on that level. They may want them for whatever financial gain that they can see in them, or if the pipe game is good, they'll want them for that for a time, right? But other than that, it's like a lot of these beta type dudes, they've been used by a lot of women. And a lot of that is their own fault because they were going after women that really didn't like them. And so they've been repetitively used by a Jezebel who pretended like she liked him for a time until he stopped spending money or she could not short squeeze him out of his money anymore. These dudes are bitter for a reason. It is a very vicious cycle. It is a very vicious cycle between men and women. Somewhere there's bitterness between the two of them, right? But the single mom hate is so unreal. I mean, out here, guys who, you know, aren't married, they don't have any kids or anything like that. They have just dedication to talking about single mothers, and it's like, boy, what the hell happened to you really in your life that you were just going in on single mothers like this? You must have been raised by your daddy who was left by a woman. That's what I think sometimes. But, anyways, let me know what you guys think about Elon and the DOGE, right? Revealing some of the just ridiculous government spending as he is aggressively trying to cut government spending. And I do think Doge is definitely one of Trump's way of, basically raising money, right? Because it's like if we cut spending, you're raising money and you can allocate it towards better things that's going to get you an ROI. Like there's no ROI in us having scientists in prisons, cutting off penises and turning them into vaginas. I mean, overall society does not benefit from that. You know what I mean? We don't benefit from enabling transitions of mentally ill people, right? Remember back in the day, such things were mental illness. It's amazing how the world turns and we're actually normalizing mental illness on so many different levels. Not only are we normalizing it, we're in so many ways on the Democratic side overtly nurturing children into transitional lifestyles. It's insane. What's going on, Brianna? I see you. Women hate and men hate stems from trauma. I agree. I definitely agree. They ain't out here just with all that. They're like bottles of fizzy water. That is built up. I agree with that. Move to Denmark, much better here. I don't know about no Denmark. I mean, do they have black people in Denmark? I think I won't move nowhere where there's not black people. I'm sorry. I don't want to be, homogeneously European land. I'll leave that for you guys. I think some of those weird purchases are covers for secret government project. I think and I think that they're just slick money laundering scheme. I don't even think that money that they're discovering is for secret government projects. I really think that it's just a slick way of getting money into these oligarchs people's hands. Like I don't think the money that they're discovering that was, that had nothing to do with government projects that benefited at least America. And my whole thing is your projects need to turn out an ROI. Otherwise, you're just doing shit. And as broke as we've been, and our spending has not really turned out an ROI for us, we really need to evaluate, money going towards these so-called projects. How much money are we going to make when this project drops? Right? We need to start thinking like the music industry, right? How much do you think we're going to get from this project, right? If we can't even put out a number of how much we think we're about to get from this project, then we need to scrap the whole damn thing. It's not even worth it. We just doing shit. And no smart financial manager would just be running around doing shit. You know what I mean? So we got to be real about this. We got to be real. True, money laundering is the most logical assumption. I definitely feel like the United States is a big ass money laundering, money washing machine. They use taxpayer monies and they wash it through these dumbass programs that really don't benefit nobody. Like, I mean, I was looking at listening to one report. They were going through the DOGE, and the guy was talking about how we were funding 50 million for some trans book project in Chile or somewhere. I'm like, what the hell? Really? This is what you got our grandkids paying for? So you can spread your little propaganda all over the damn world? That's basically what it is. Bribing all these other nations. Hey, you want to be gay? You guys want to be trans? We will give you $50 million if you push the trans agenda in your nation. We were literally budgeting, bribing people to push, alternative lifestyle agendas in their nations. The hell? So we definitely need DOGE. We do. Like, ain't nobody playing with the government anymore. We want our money. We want to retain more of our earnings, and we can't do that if y'all out here short squeezing us with all these creative little taxes, right? So that you can go pay for some old bullshit that one of your buddies, like I heard that bishop, that so-called apostate in my mind, that did the prayer, whatever thing for Trump's inauguration. I heard that her little ministry got like $50 million for some immigrant program to help immigrant people. So we just doing shit, right? We just doing shit, just spending money because we can, because we got taxing power, and that's not right. I don't think that our government operates the right way, and I think that just because you have taxing power do not mean that you can just sit there and come up with all kinds of stupid ass ways to short squeeze society. And that's what's been going on. So kudos to DOGE. Hopefully they are able to cut all the BS, right? Without cutting all the necessary programs. Let's see. I remember reports about a bunch of African nations refusing propaganda and consequently the aid that comes with it. Absolutely. Right. They had Kamala Harris, so dorky ass over there in this African nation talking about they laws on trans and it, like, because these are conservative. A lot of African nations are very conservative, right? And so they had her goofy ass over there, like talking about trying to throw shade on them for not all this gay marriage and whoop de whoop. We need you to be like the West. We need you to be like America, and we're not gonna bribing you with money. And it's like, man, them African nations basically laughed her ass right back to America. Like, we're not gonna just bow to y'all gayness because y'all sodomites and y'all want the whole damn world to be like that. We're not gonna bow to you, Rome. And that and they and she laughed her ass, cackled her ass right back to America. Didn't sway none of them African nations to get a little bit gayer. And now China has over $50 billion invested in these African nations, right? And China's not asking them to turn gay. China's not asking them to modify the laws of their land to match how China is doing things. China is not asking them to do that. The United States is the one going around, flying around to other nations trying to imperialize their culture with some bullshit. And we, the taxpayers, have been paying for that. So shout out to Elon and what is it? Harry Balls. What's the little boy's name? Big Balls, Harry Balls, right? Shout out to Harry Balls and his little teams for, finding all of this stuff out, right? I can't wait to see what they are coming out with more. Right? I want to see what else they come out with. What else? What other bullshit? All right, like honestly, this is the news story, guys. Right? If the mainstream media were really on their shit and knew how to just grab, you want the public's attention again, y'all need to start following all this government spending, this ridiculous spending that is coming out of DOGE. Because so far, I'm getting this from really your independent media outlets. They're the ones who are really covering, all the ridiculous spending. So if the liberal media really wants to sort of save face and turn over a new leaf and convince the public that they're not as shady and, lying as they always are, right? They better start covering this Doge stuff and some of the stuff coming out of Doge because that's some juicy stuff to me, right? I mean, it angers you, no doubt. Like, oh wait, we $50 million of my tax money went to go promote nurturing children into trans ideology in other countries. Where is the money going? And I think Doge is going to answer that for us. So let me know what you guys think. I don't care about anybody who didn't like the halftime show. It probably wasn't for you. Kendrick Lamar is probably not the artist for you. And I'm not one of those Kendrick fans that will just defend the man. I respect a decent artist. I respect a good artist. I think that obviously the devil has empowered Kendrick with some very lyrical genius. And, and a lot of the people that are hating on Kendrick, right, they are not even remotely as talented as Kendrick. It always be the untalented people, the people who can never do what you're doing, or at least have the balls to try to do it. It's always them that have the most to say. So, F them. I'm trying not to curse so much. And God, I already talked to God about my swearing. Right? But screw those people. Screw those people. They don't matter. Right? The minute a hater starts paying your bills is the minute you can the moment you can start taking their critiques and their hate kind of seriously. But most of the haters aren't even paying the bills. They're not buying the art. They're not doing any of that. So fuck them. Anyways, you guys, the devil's empowered his lyrics, maybe the platform, but I don't know about the lyrics. Kendrick has admitted in his own lyrics that he has inspirations from the devil. And I was actually looking at this brother. Who was it? Jay Marvelous he was actually covering another YouTube video, claiming that Kendrick's performance had a lot of satanic symbolism in it. And then he started breaking down the performance and also past lyrics of Kendrick's. And I definitely wouldn't say that Kendrick Lamar is any type of messiah or leader or anybody holy to look up to. I think that, like I said, lyrical content wise, he's a wordsmith, right? And he said things or alluded to things about selling his soul several times, having conversations with the devil. And so, I wouldn't be surprised if, his lyrical genius does come from that darker place that he says that he taps into. Because again, I think that, even the devil is bougie, he doesn't want just everybody. I think in one of his songs, he was even talking about how the devil had been watching him, right? He doesn't want everybody. And half of the people that worship the devil wouldn't even care about on a good day because they're untalented. They don't have the 5 social values and they are not influencers. They're not influencers, strategic influencers, long term, right? And so, a lot of these people, they kind of come and go in ways, but I definitely feel like Kendrick Lamar, I felt the energy that he had sold out a while ago, sold his soul, I should say. And, I get really leery when somebody who kind of projects themselves as almost like an Israelite. um, is fooling or, mocking the God of Israel. And I think when I looked at that performance, there was a couple of things where it could say, well, maybe he's showing his people to remember these things. Because when I first saw the performance, I really looked at that as, religious symbolism, but more Israelite symbolism, infused with this American paganism symbolism, right? But it could be a mockery too. It could have been a mockery. And so I would just say that those who have discernment, right, you're going to take that performance for what it's worth. From an art standpoint, he did a great job, right? If we're talking symbolisms or anything like that, I wasn't really trying to digest any symbols in that performance, but I can definitely get where people got the symbols in that performance. And I mean, did you guys get any, symbols that you thought, okay, yeah, here we go again, right? Here we go again with that mess, right? I don't watch the Illuminati type symbolism stuff enough to even know to look for this stuff anymore. I already know the devil's in a lot of details. All right. Let me see what happened. Oh, let me go because I can't. For some reason, it disappears over here. Did we get a hater in the chat? Ghetto Planet. Let me go over here because I can't really see this. Let me go over here and cancel this. There we go. This is a better view. When I see it on the computer, the phone, everything just goes up. Oh, we had to get rid of John. What's going on, ML0860? I see you. You said the devil empower his lyrics. Okay, we got that one, but he's been a great wordsmith since his beginning. Absolutely, but here's the thing, though. He's been a great wordsmith since his beginning, but listen to Kendrick's lyrics. Even the devil recognized that. He's saying in his own lyrics these conversations that he's having with the devil. He even did a song from the standpoint of the devil's perspective, right? So, I mean, a lot of people can say, okay, this is art, right? But again, I think that a lot of times you look at a lot of these artists, right? Major big artists who were on the top of the world, top of their fame, and a lot of them, if you really dig deep in their lyrics, they're making references to I sold my soul for this fame and this fortune, for this money, sell your soul for this money. They're making little references to that. So, you know, take it for what you want. Like I said, I saw some, religious symbolism in his halftime show. I didn't really get the Satanism. I've never seen Squid Games, was not interested in seeing Squid Games. Um, but a lot of people said that it had some reflections of that too. So I don't know, you guys. I'm not about to sit here and say that the brother was demonic in his performance or if he wasn't trying to send maybe some hitting message to people who could actually receive it. But he did get a lot of people who hated on his performance because, again, I think that as non-racist as people in America, some people in America would like to claim they are not, they are still culturally uncomfortable. They are still culturally underexposed. And when you are both of those things, you going to hate on almost anything. So, I kind of look at it like that. Kendrick was performing in front of a bunch of culturally underexposed people. And that's what it is. What's going on, Nick? Good to see you. I've been doing good. Busy, 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 busy. I've been homeschooling. Oh my God. It's just, I've been relearning a lot of things. You know how when you're teaching your kids or going through their little assignments or whatever, you just start relearning stuff. So I have been relearning so much stuff. And just, it's been fun teaching my son. Our science is different. So like a lot of times it's like, first grade science, I don't know really what they do. They'll have you do like some little dumb thing or whatever. But we're doing like circuits, right? And so right now we're learning about AC and DC circuits. And my son's really fascinated with it. We're talking about right now we're on the DC circuits. And so he's learning about direct current, and so he likes it, and so some of the tests, I'm having him, I want to see a full circuit, so making him just draw little diagrams of what is a broken circuit looks like, what is the full loop circle looks like. And so that's the kind of stuff that I'm teaching my son. I'm really trying to get him into electrical engineering principles. So I hope that, like, if my son is an engineer, that he would just consider being a mechatronics engineer, and that way he could have both the mechanical and the electrical experience. I have an affinity for the electrical engineering personally, so I'm just gonna have to find somebody who has the mechanical passion, because I don't have a passion for mechanical engineering. I've always been fascinated with the electrical side of things. But shout out to my mechanical engineers out there. The electricals need y'all. The electricals need y'all, because they're not going to think about the body. They're not going to think about, some of those other mechanics. They're just going to be like, can I get this circuitry through this, So there's a lot of job stability in electrical. I agree. I was telling some of my mechanical friends, even back in 2020, because you can kind of see where the just the everyday consumer vehicle is transitioning. I'm like, bro, you need to go back to school. Just pick up the electrical. I kept telling my one friend, just pick up the electrical part. Oh no, I'm in a mechanical. They're always going to need mechanicals. The electricals, they wouldn't exist without us. And it's like, well, that might be true, but mechatronics engineers can definitely exist without you, because they're getting the mechanical and the electrical training. So you'll see a lot of product managers now, as opposed to just wanting an electrical engineer or a mechanical engineer. They're like, I need a mechatronics engineer. We prefer somebody who has, some area of discipline in mechatronics, right? Because they want both. They want two for one. So I'm teaching my son to be two for one. And so he'll pick up the mechanical, hopefully in high school or something. But we can at least drill down the electrical principles to him, now. So I'm excited, And if you are like a homeschooling parent, I just want to hang on. All right, so if you are a parent that homeschool, I do want to recommend this little kit right here. It's good for high school, elementary school, high school. Has different little projects that you can do, and just drilling on electrical engineering principles. And it comes with like all this cool learning stuff. It got, you got magnets, right? You got, hang on for a second. And honestly, I'm still learning, so I'm going to learn like the name of all of this too. But this is like I don't know if this is like a voltage meter or whatever, but I don't know if you guys can see that. But if you were teaching your kids at home, and I mean, the kit comes with like everything. And I just been, you gotta nerd out on the little book, if you're a parent who's just like learning this stuff. But once you make like a light bulb light up, like you really feel like you did something, okay? And it's like, that's the excitement of these kits. It's like there's 18 different experiments, right? And they're all applying different electrical principles. But yeah, look at that. I mean, so much stuff that this kid, like I said, 18 different things. It's good for ages 8 and up if you want to teach your kids those electrical principles. And I definitely recommend homeschool parents do that. All right. Get your kids off of the computer, out of their cell phones, and just do some, fun stuff like that. You might like it. All right. Too much E and EV is bad for the car industry. Buttons, touchscreen. Me personally, I like the simple model vehicles. I am not one that needs my car to have a bunch of human interface type of technologies. I'm a regular consumer. My car is a means to an end. I live in the Motor City, right? So if you live in the Motor City, quite frankly, you get tired of driving, right? Because you got to drive everywhere. So it's like a lot of times, you go through driving becomes a phase if you live in the Motor City because it's like you get tired of doing it. It's like like look, I'll pay you to drive, right? But you know I do think that there's a place for some of these technologies or innovations. I'm not a fan of some of the advancements like autonomous vehicles. I'm sorry, I'm not that lazy. I'll drive my own car. I trust myself to drive my car and drive me where I need to be. You know what I mean? I'm okay with paying attention to the road. I don't want the computer in the car to pay attention to the road for me. You know what I mean? And I just feel like we need to, hold on to our faculties, right? Because the way that they're transitioning society, they're like, oh, we're just transitioning society where you guys don't have to think about anything ever. And it's like, I don't think that's good for the human soul. I mean, that kind of makes people like robots after a while. But anyways, let me know what you guys also think. I did a video not too long ago about ByteDance's new omni-human technology, right? Again, they could do videos just like this, emulate people's voices, their emphatic gestures, their hand gestures, and they can really create content that, can manipulate a lot of people. And so the AI is getting scarier, y'all. I think it's getting scarier. It's getting scarier. But again, I think that there's usefulness for AI too. But I think that it needs a lot of regulation. It needs a lot of regulation, in my opinion. So let me know what you guys think about this. Um, Check out Reese Waters' channel too if you haven't checked him out. Like I said, I look at both sides of the spectrum. Reese is hilarious because he goes on the Democratic side. He's one of those Democrat commentators, but he's hilarious because apparently, with these deportations is almost causing culture wars between groups of people, especially Hispanics and blacks. And I'm trying to figure out, how did black people become the blame for, or why are we required to stand, with the Hispanic people, and it's like their people were the ones who voted for Trump, knowing exactly what he was going to do. I mean, I don't think that Trump was really coy about anything that he was going to do. Maybe he wasn't really super specific on some things. But when somebody runs on mass deportations and we're going to get rid of this and rhetoric on getting rid of undocumented immigrants, or like that, some of those people like not think that that was going to apply to them or somebody that they cared about. Like, I don't get it, especially these Republicans who are now talking about how their businesses are impacted by these mass deportation because their workers don't want to go to work. And it's like, you American first traitor, what are you doing hiring illegal Mexicans? Why aren't you hiring Americans to do the job at your company? Right? So you realize the hypocrisy that's going on with these folks, right? The same Republicans talking about America first, America first, America first. Now you guys are realizing what that rhetoric really means, that when Trump says, I'm going to deliver on what I say, right? He means it. And that's even down to your illegal workers who, you have been leveraging for cheap labor, you American first hypocrites. But, anyways, I like the idea of being able to walk away from the computer while still appearing and speaking on the video call. You know, okay, here's the thing. There's with anything, there's a level of deception, right? So you're in a meeting that you don't want to be in, right? You rather not be on this video call with a camera on, right? And so what do, right? You use this AI technology to manipulate individuals in the meeting that you are sitting there talking to them when really it's just an AI image of you, right? It gives you the convenience of being two places at one time, right? But is that not deceptive in a way? Like, isn't there just a hint of dishonesty in that technology being leveraged that way? I just wonder, like, what is the ultimate goal with some of this technology? That's all I want to know. I mean, and then even with the facial recognition softwares where they're like, you can be in an auditorium full of people, right? And if everybody is locked into this, AI technology, right? The reader, the speaker is able to, through some transhuman technology, of course, right? Read the room so they can tell if somebody doesn't like their delivery, if they're enjoying their delivery. They can actually see all this stuff through this AI interface technology, right? And it's like, I mean, in some regards, I find maybe that's useful, right? For a speaker to know how people feel about them as they are speaking. But then another thing, it's like, well, this sounds like some old Nebuchadnezzar stuff back in Babylon, where it's like if everybody doesn't bow to my Antichrist, right, then you're not going to be able to survive or whatever. And it's like, well, how would people know that people don't care for the Antichrist? Well, there's going to be an AI technology to be able to read the biometrics of people to see if they are, in fact, supportive of any type of leader. If they have any negative sentiments, they will frame it as this is a way for us to protect our, leaders, is by making sure that everybody around them is not suspicious based off of their biometrics, right, to harm this leader. So, I mean, again, I can understand the usage of some of this stuff, but I can also see the abuse of some of this stuff too. So it is very, and again, and it's all about deception, because at the heart of everything, the letters AI stands for artificial intelligence, right? So what is being projected to you is truly artificial, right? That's why computers are not smarter than humans. Computers rely on humans, right? And even if you get a very sophisticated AI, there was a human that created the libraries that made it as sophisticated as it is, because that's really what AI is really about, is just a bunch of libraries being fed information, right? I mean, this is not like rocket science either. I mean, they're creating libraries. And like, for example, with TikTok, it's like, for them, they didn't even have to do a lot with Tik or ByteDance. They didn't have to do a lot to really create the AI technology that they created. They were just smart enough to say, let's use all of our TikTok data as sample biometrics, right? Human emulations, right? You got all these weirdos on TikToks anyways doing all these emphatic gestures and talking about this and that, right? It's easy. And then all you got to do is just superimpose somebody else's face in a very believable manner over one of those weirdos in a TikTok video, right? So there's all kinds of ways that I think AI is going to be very interesting. It's going to be weaponized. Like I said, it's going to be useful, but I also see how it can be weaponized. So we shall just see about that, you know. But, you know, again, yeah, Ghetto Planet, it's dishonest. Some of this stuff comes with dishonesty and deception and invasion of privacy. And I think that's one of the things that we have to be conscious of is there's no real privacy. I think privacy is definitely an illusion. We've been, made to believe that we have privacy, but I don't think so. What was else on my radar? Um, Serena Williams. They're not happy with Serena crip walking at the Super Bowl. Conservatives seem to be painting the narrative that Serena did all of that, right, to get back at Drake. That's what they're saying. They're saying that she was at the Super Bowl crip walking because I guess she had something with Drake, and then Drake started talking about her like a little female, and I guess Serena didn't like that, right? That's a whole lot to do, for Drake. But my whole thing is Serena's name was in that song, right? Kendrick is a West Coast rapper. He defended her in his song, so I think Serena coming out to show up and show out for Kendrick. I think people make too much stuff about Drake. But I don't even look at that Super Bowl performance as even being about Drake. To be honest with you, I really, I got a couple of stabs at, but it's like I'm over that rap beef. Kendrick won. Kendrick won. Drake is sitting up there suing people now because his record label basically leveraged Kendrick, just like they're now leveraging The Weeknd to finish him. This is like a Mortal Kombat game. You never sue record labels. They kill people. They coordinate to kill people or drug them or turn them insane. You don't sue them, right? Look at Diddy, right? You don't sue record labels. You don't sue huge alcohol conglomerates, right? It's like Drake learned nothing from Diddy, right? That will be your fall from grace the moment you start suing your daddies. So it's like, I don't think that Drake is really going to have a recoverable career after this. And I don't even think it has really too much to do with Kendrick. Kendrick was just really the nail in the coffin. But I think that there was definitely going to be a coordination to, get rid of Drake because he wasn't organic. And I think when you look at a lot of these record labels now, even with your Cardi B's, these labels are not betting on these shelf life artists like that anymore. They're not betting on these people like that. You said Drake, and I definitely feel like Drake suffers from imposter syndrome. I definitely feel like Drake suffers from imposter syndrome. I remember looking at an interview that Drake did, and he was talking about obviously going to all, sort of mostly Jewish school. He was pretty much like the only look like one of the few ambiguous black kids there or whatever. And, he had a hard time with the kids in that community, right? And I'm pretty sure, obviously he's not really he wasn't really culturally immersed with the black side like that. So I really don't even, I think that, a lot of biracial people, they seem to be culturally lost sometimes, because, obviously, especially if they were raised by the white side, right? There are some biracial kids, they can do well being raised by the white side. They can go along, being aware of blackness, but some of them are like little Sarah Janes, like from the Imitation of Life movie, where they just don't want to be associated with black. Everything about black is just, oh my God, I am biracial. I am half white, right? But then there's some biracial kids that really do have the cultural issues, right? They are raised by the white side and they're longing for the black side. And then when they get to the black side, they can't quite have that acceptance because, in certain situations, unfortunately, some people do, all kids can be very cruel, right? All kids can be very cruel. Let's just put it like that. You said combination Drake. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, combination Drake. Yeah, okay. So, I mean, I don't know what that means, Ghetto Planet. Is that like a lyric or something? But I just say that to say that he definitely probably suffers from imposter syndrome. But I think in some regards he's also, kind of been propped up by this industry who convinced him that he could be sort of this really prolific person in the hip hop space, this face in this hip hop space, and he wasn't necessarily going to be the face for black culture, right? He was going to be the face for another culture that just looks, but just he just happened to look black. I do feel sorry for biracial kids, especially some of them that are black and maybe Jewish. Um, Tough road sometimes in that combination, tough road is what I say to that. And Drake is showing us that. Doja Cat is another example of a biracial person, and Doja isn't immersed in black culture. She understands, like, what side raised her, right? And she's definitely more, immersed in her whiter culture, right? So biracial kids, people, they come all kinds of ways in their thinking, right? And that's just what it is. Um, but anyways, guys, let me get out of here because I am over an hour. Kendrick Lamar, apparently his Super Bowl halftime show, regardless if people liked it, he did break some numbers. So go ahead, Kendrick, you did your thing, right? Haters are gonna hate. Oh my God. What is this? There's a really obese lady out here in Detroit that ended up suing Uber and Lyft because the driver refused to, I guess, allow her into the car. How can you sue people for that? I don't get it. Like, how is that even something that you can sue somebody for? Is that really discrimination when somebody is that large, right? And you just don't have a vehicle to support what they're doing? Like, I'm just curious here.
Yes, I can. So, I'm sorry. What am I doing with my money? I'm going to cancel it. You're not going to be charged. So, you telling me I can't get a lift because I can't fit in your car? Yeah, you need to order a bigger car. What makes you think I can't fit in the car? Yeah, I'm sorry. What makes you think I can't fit in this car? Because the car is small for that. My best friend has a business that's more than his, and I can see at the same time.
These people be my motivation.
So you really telling me
be my motivation.
I'm in your car, so I gotta order another lift. And to be more specific with you, I got very tired tires. What I gotta do with your tires?
Now, obviously, if you looked at the thumbnail and if you kept up with this situation at all, then you already know the fact that this chick is rather large.
Random University.
And we'll get to more of those details later about.
This woman is gargantuous, and she talking about getting into that man's little ass car. And like, this is the mental illness or the entitlement of some people. Like, how the hell you look about the size of this man's damn car, and you sitting up there talking about you about to sue somebody, and he told her she was gonna refund her money. He was gonna refund her money. It wasn't like he was just gonna steal from her. He was like, I'm gonna refund the money. You said $5.98. Is that £5.98? She will settle quickly with Lyft for 10,000. Order 5 Uber Eats delivery. They will be requesting for seat belt extensions to come with every lift. That is repulsive, right? And I mean, And this girl is getting a lot of blog time from people who are trying to make her feel like a victim. It's like, man, her calves are the real victim in this scenario. Like, seriously, like, god damn. I'm not about fat shaming people, but some things are just a damn shame. It's just a damn shame, and I hope that some people who are this size will empower themselves. I mean, to maybe not lift, but maybe get one of those bicycles that you can rent and go places within the city. That would be a good transportation for her. Just get one of those little, what do they call those damn things? Like, they're downtown. People put a little coin, and then you can actually, you don't even have to take them to the same place. Just little metro bikes or whatever. She needs to be on a metro bike. Like, she needs to spend her whole damn summer just riding around in a bike. Matter of fact, she should carry people on the handlebars for her extra resistance to work out her arms. Like, this is like sad, right? But this is the world that we live in. We live in this entitled world where somebody nearly 600 pounds, has the entitlement to, bitch about the ergonomics of aircraft seats that don't accommodate their big ass bodies. Or, they can sue whole companies because the driver refused to let them in because, some cars have cargo limits. Some cars have cargo limits. You know what I mean? And, maybe you should have, I don't know. I think he said it in as nice of a way that he possibly can. And she's just probably she was just probably upset with the reality that, you need to lose some weight, boo boo. You need to lose some damn weight, right? My car has a cargo limit and you exceeded. You exceeded. And that's just being really honest. And that's what I would have told her as. I'm about to refund you your money. Bye. That's exactly. You shouldn't need, you need your own damn van. You need an Astro. Remember them Astro vans back in the day? She needs one of those, right, to port her ass around. Anyways, you guys, sadness. The sadness is real. And I ain't even trying to fat shame. They always trying to say stuff is about shaming people. But it's like she really should be ashamed for being that damn big. Running around. And then she got the nerve to be in thought wear. She got her flesh showing. It's like, I mean, Lizzo is losing weight, honey. Lizzo is losing weight. Lizzo is getting all that off of her. So y'all need to just get on the train of Lizzo. Lizzo is looking good. Lizzo is looking good. She inspires me. She inspires me so much because I feel like I've gained, like, I want to lose weight because I feel like over 40, it gets really hard to lose the weight. And I'm not down with doing any type of surgical procedures. I'm just more about just working out and seeing how much fat I can get off my body and working out. I'm realistic that my body is never going to look like it did in high school. I've had 3 children. I've had 3 kids that have stretched my body out. So I just need to, but I have been conscious. I got to tell y'all something. This is like, I hated that Tariq Nasheed sometimes be like ringing through my brain because he be saying just some funny off the wall things sometimes. And the one thing he was talking about women over 40 and how they go through their whole phase, and they're trying to get it in before that back get all big and wide. And he was like, and they be all big back. And ever since he was talking about women over 40 and they backs are wide and big back and stuff, I've been really worried about that. So I gotta work on it. My goal is like 15, maybe 20 pounds, and I'm good. I'm not trying to be skinny. I just want to be, not bigger. If that, and I damn sure don't want to look like this chick in this video who can't even get into a ride share because she's way too much cargo. But anyways, her name is let's see, juicier ghetto lawsuits are exhausting. That was a setup. Now, were we talking about lawsuits? Let me see. You said ghetto lawsuits are exhausting. I mean, yeah, but at the same time, it's like she has to show. I mean, I think a lot of these, these people they videotape everything so that they can victimize a situation. But I think any reasonable person would look at that situation, look at that dude's car, and say, I can understand why he refused. I don't think it has anything to do with racism or really fat shaming. It's just that you really are over the cargo limits for his car. We don't even know what he had in his trunk that she was going to add to the cargo weight, and it was going to just start messing up his car. So no, she shouldn't be suing nobody, right? She should be suing every single restaurant that sold her food in the last 5 years. That's who she should be suing. But anyways, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. I will talk to you guys on the next one. It's good chatting with you guys. And yeah, the world is crazy, y'all. The world is crazy. You said PHAT, pretty hot and tempting. I just don't want to be like big, I feel like women were out here buying, my natural body. I really feel like this. They were buying my natural body, and so it's like I started actually liking myself looking thicker, right? But it's like, no, because even being naturally thicker, right? And it's still, weight hurts your body. Like, at least I can speak for myself. When I have extra weight on me, it hurts my back. It really hurts my back. Like, it hurts my lower back, especially because, I gained it in my thighs. And so it's like, yeah, I don't recommend people just be overweight, but a little hill and valley here is okay, but overweight, just think about, it's not even just about body image at that point. Sometimes it's really about your physics. Some people are not physically made to be super duper fat. And when they start getting super duper fat, they start having, problems, I truly believe that. 75 years ago, she would have been a sideshow attraction. That's true. But think about it. 75 years ago, half of the shit that we normalize now in society would have been a sideshow attraction. Trans people were a sideshow attraction, and now they're trying to convince everybody to nurture their kids into being that. So the world has changed, right? We are normalizing what was abnormal is now the new normal, and we are normalizing all kinds of dysfunction. So yes, a 600-pound woman can sue a ride share company for not letting her, into a tiny ass car like that, guys, because this is the world that we live in, that, being, fat, victimizes you, and people have zero right to discriminate against you. So that's kind of where we are at. You can't make fat people feel like victims. And if you are a driver in a ride share company, just, pretend like you didn't see them and just keep riding, cancel the ride. Then you won't have to have any exchanges with them. Just cancel the ride. As soon as you see them, just cancel the ride and just... That's the only thing I can think about. Because if I would have saw her big ass, soon as I drove up and I matched that picture with that body, I would have just kept going, canceled the ride, and she would have just had to, she would have just had, like, I don't know how Uber can do it, but can't the drivers cancel the ride too? Like, I'm sure they're able to cancel the ride. Let's say they get into traffic, flat tire. As soon as I saw her big ass, it's like, cancel. I ain't even about to interact with you. I'm not even about to argue about why your ass cannot get into the back of my car right now. You just can't. You just can't. That's it. That is it. So you said, my doctor no longer weighs patients. You must request a weigh-in because of frivolous lawsuits? What would people be suing a doctor about weighing them for? Like, I don't get that. Like, man, see, this is what I'm talking about. We live in the age where abnormal is the new normal, where a standard routine checkup now turns into grounds for suing somebody because, you're feeling like your doctor taking your weight is a form of fat shaming. Lord, this is insane. But you said denial is unreal. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And see, here's the thing. I can see how people can be like, I've been one of those, like, I've seen people, sort of eat out of anxiety, right? So, like, we already know that, like, overly obese people, it's really a result of them not having a handle on things that make them anxious. And the only thing that they have control over is the pleasure of having food. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, I kind of look at people like that. And so I have sympathy for people. But then when you're just like a mean or unreasonable person running around, like I'll see these TikTok videos of these like 500, 600-pound women talking about, how am I don't think it's fair that I have to pay for a second seat. And it's like, well, your love handles are all on the second seat. I mean, you are taking up 2 seats technically on the plane because your love handles have their own seat. So let's just keep it a buck here. Like, why are you complaining about taking up a second seat when actually you truly are taking up a second seat? Your arms are taking up a second seat. Half of your thighs is in the second seat. Ain't nobody gonna be able to comfortably sit next to somebody who's that damn big. So yes, you gotta, take up 2 seats because we still have to lose money off of this seat next to you because your ass is so big that you're gonna make somebody else uncomfortable sitting next to you. Right? So yeah, you paying for 2 seats. These people kill me bitching about things like that, right? If you don't want to pay for 2 seats, then you need to lose enough weight to fit in one. And that's just what it is. Like, some people put their shit on society, and it's like, you got to be accountable for something, honey. You got to be accountable for something. But anyways, y'all, let me get off of here. It was cool chatting with you guys. Big ups to Nick. I see you. Tom, I see you. Ghetto Planet, as always. Roosevelt, I see you. Hello. And Avis, what's going on? I see you too. Thanks for tuning in. I see Phoenix too. If you guys dig, we just straightforward and real over here. We try to keep it chill, right? So hit that like button if you did content like this. And I will catch you guys on the next one. If you're struggling with some weight, I would say, exercise, water, a little apple cider vinegar and some hot water before you go to bed to kind of help you melt some of that fat. Don't y'all know why we soak the barbecue in the vinegar, right? We're trying to get some of that fat, right? Dissolve some of that fat on there. So, take care of yourselves and just don't be out there being 600 pounds and suing folks, right? Because they don't want to let you in their car. Anyways, you guys have a good one. Bye.